I was not the biggest fan of this guy's work, as most of his stuff came in the 70s and 80s. And I was too young to understand most of his stuff in the late 80s and 90s. Today, we lost one of the comedy greats of the 70s and 80s, especially for kid shows. That being Paul, though it would be debatable if you could call most of his content for kids. That being Paul Reubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, has died today at the to cancer at the age of 70. Born August 27th, 1954, as 52, as Paul Rubenfield in Peekskill, New York, New York, attending a education both at Boston University and then the California Institute of the Arts. Reubens joined the LA troupe The Groundings in the 70s and started his career as an improv comedian and stage actor. In 82, he began his tour with the Pee Wee Herman show for stage comedy, which became a cult figure for the next decade or so. Committed to the character as he was, he would team up with Tim Burton in 1985 to do two films, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and then 3 years later, Big Top Pee Wee in 1988. Nonetheless, between 1986 and 1990, this led to the syndication of his Saturday morning show on CBS, Pee Wee's Playhouse. You know, the one with the overly irritating 2.5 minute long theme song. I'll show you an. I'm gonna play it on low so I don't get busted. Since this is predominantly owned by CBS and Shout Factory. Just a sample. Anyway, Reubens got himself in trouble for indecent exposure and adult theater in 1991, which essentially ruined Pee Wee Herman's career until 1999 when he got involved in Mystery Men and then in Blow 2001. It basically destroyed both himself and the Pee Wee Herman character in a way. After that, Rubin started giving interviews as himself instead of the Pee Wee character. He would then make cameos on TV shows such as Reno 911, 30 Rock, Pushing Daisies, Life During Wartime, The Blacklist, and films like Accidental Love and Mosaic. He also voiced Pavel in the Disney XD television series Tron Uprising. He then started taking the show on Broadway in 2010. And then in 2016, he co-wrote and starred the Pee Wee's Big Holiday, reprising the role of the character. Reubens, as I mentioned, was born in Peekskill, New York on August 27th, 1952. Growing up in a Jewish family, the son of Judy Rosen Rubenfeld and Milton Rubenfeld, his father was a lamp store owner and his mother a school teacher in Sarasota, Florida. though his father, was also an automobile salesman who had flown for for the RAF and the U.S. Army Air Force during the Second World War, and later became one of the founding pilots of the IAF, the Israeli Air Force, during the Arab-Israeli War in '48. Milton Rubenfeld was also one of 5 Jewish pilots to fly against the Arab air forces in smuggled planes. Paul had two younger siblings. His brother Luke Rubenfeld, born 1958, who was a dog trainer, and his sister Abby, who works as an attorney for the American Civil Liberties Union of the state of Tennessee, born a year after he was. He spent most of his time, though, in Oneida, New York, and frequented the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus, who were headquarters in Sarasota during the winter. He also loved to watch I Love Lucy, which made him want to make people laugh. When he was 5, Reubens asked his dad to build him a stage where he and his siblings could act out plays. He would attend Sarasota High School and was named president of the NTS, or the National Thespian Society. He was accepted in Northwestern University's summer program for gifted high school students and joined the Asolo Theater, Players of Sarasota Theater, and appeared in several plays. After his graduation, he attended Boston U and began auditioning for acting schools. He was turned down by several, including the Juilliard School and twice by the Carnegie Mellon University, before getting one at the California Institute of the Arts, where he worked in restaurants, and moving to California, working in restaurant kitchens and as a Fuller brush salesman just to pay the bills for his education. In the '70s, he began performing in local comedy clubs and made 4 guest appearances on the Gong Show out of 14, as part of a boy-girl act he had developed with Charlotte McGivens, the hilarious Betty and Eddie. He then joined the Los Angeles-based improv comedy team, the Groundlings, where he remained with the troupe for 6 years, working with Bob McClurg, John Paragon, Susan Barnes, and Phil Hartman. Hartman and Reubens became close friends and afterward wrote and worked on material together. In '80s, he got a small part as a waiter in one of his film debuts in The Blues Brothers. Granted, The Blues Brothers was not Herman's film debut. He was actually in the televangelist spoof movie Pray TV, which didn't get to theaters until 1981. He was also in Midnight Madness and Cheech and Chong's next movie over that year. Reubens would appear in the production of Life with Father in the '70s, which introduced the Pee Wee character, which began in 1978, which was part of the Groundlings. Reubens came up with the idea of a man who wanted to be a comic but was so inept at telling jokes that it was obvious to the audience he'd never make it. Hartman would afterwards help Reubens develop the character, while another Groundling, Paragon, helped write the show. Despite being compared to other famous characters such as Hergé's Tintin and Cordelli's Pinocchio, Reubens said there was no specific source for Pee Wee other than a collection of ideas. During his time on Life with Father, he was cast as one of the most obnoxious characters in the play. For the role, Reubens adopted a cartoon way of speaking, whose voice became Pee Wee's. Pee Wee's was the first name to come from a 1-inch Pee Wee brand harmonica Reubens had as a kid. The surname Herman was the last name of an energetic boy Reubens knew from his youth. The first small gray suit Pee Wee always wore had been handmade for Groundling's director and founder, Gary Austin, who passed it on to Reubens. The origin of the red tie, more conspicuous. Reubens claimed someone handed him the little kid bow tie before a performance. 1981, Saturday. And the rest they say is history, at least up until the controversy in 1991 with the arrest and retreat from the public eye. Then came his comeback. the new Pee Wee Herman show from 2009 to 2023, which was basically an on stage show. But after the while originally meant to be for kids in the 80s, Pee Wee got more select. Paul got more selective with who the Pee Wee character should be appealing to after he got busted in '91 for what happened to him for the indecent exposure scandal. And the thing, Pee Wee Reubens had actually been diagnosed with cancer 6 years before his death. He had just kept it hidden from the public. Prior to his death, he had discussed plans for a museum which would contain many of the Playhouse sets and props that he owned. To the best of my knowledge, Paul Reubens was a lifelong bachelor. He left no family behind, outside of his father and his sister, as his brother had died years earlier. Oh, his father died in 2004. Let's see if Abby is still alive. Okay, yep. Reubens is survived by his sister, Abby Rubenfeld, now, with whom has two daughters of her own. Well, three actually, two biological and a step. I don't want to know who the husband is. But that said, it's a sad day for the world of television, as Pee Wee Herman is no more. Paul, you're going to be missed. Salem, sir. Rest in peace. I don't like it when I have to come on here to do these videos anyway. Leave a comment, smash a like, sub to the channel. This is Mets2128 signing out. Till then, I must bid you adieu. So goodbye. Good fucking night. Bang.